Great white sharks. What is it about them that intrigues us? Is it their size? Or maybe the fact that despite all we know about them, there's still so much mystery? I've spent a good portion of the last 2 years learning as much as I can about them, mainly through observation and through talking to various scientists. I've learned some very intriguing things. Things like this, for example. Do you see the dark patches in front of this shark's caudal fin? That's actually a scar from a boat strike, something I would not recognize if I didn't have input from experts on these type of injuries. While white sharks are mainly solitary animals, I often record them interacting with each other. This is a typical white shark interaction, a dance I've seen countless times. More on that later. But first, I want to share something that completely surprised me. In my search for white sharks, I've discovered 3 unique locations along the California coast where amazing things are happening. I call them Convergence Spots. Locations where I've observed great white sharks gather in such large numbers that only video proof can make it believable. Here's an example. With no humans around and no outside factors to contend with, I'm observing white sharks in a natural environment that is unlike anything I've ever seen before. Why are there so many sharks here? To find out, I reached out to shark expert Alison Towner, a shark biologist in South Africa, a place where similar locations and behaviors have been observed. Notice how many sharks are in this frame. There are many more just outside of it. Alison and her team have logged over 500 hours tracking white shark movements in South Africa. She's noted similar aggregations in select locations. Locations where white sharks return every day, almost like homing pigeons. The sharks would return back to them every evening and early morning. It's the same behavior I'm observing here in California. But why do they do this? According to Towner and her team, these locations tick all boxes in terms of a perfect place to eat and conserve energy. The sharks can effectively rest while parked off at these locations, thus allowing their gills to stay oxygenated in the shallow water and waves. These locations are often plentiful with food in terms of fish, rays, and safety. Notice the convergence of sharks and stingrays in this clip. They seem to surround a group of rays. It's behavior I've never filmed before. And right there, you can see 3 sharks engage each other. One nearly reaches the surface of the water. If you look closely, you will notice the stingrays dash out from the middle amongst the action. It's a beautiful dynamic, and it's right in our backyard here in Southern California. There is much more to be learned here. And with this many sharks in close proximity, battles for space are likely to happen. Here's proof. This shark, which I filmed at the location, appears completely fine at first, but examine it further and you will notice something interesting. As I fly over the shark, notice the large scars on its gills. Here's a photograph I took of this white shark. The scars are easily discernible from above. They appear like deep gashes, and they're identifiable as teeth marks. These marks are common among sharks. So I asked Alison again, what causes these injuries? She says these type of injuries are actually quite common among white sharks. They are usually from a warning bite from another shark. Although, when the sharks are large enough, these scars are likely from a mating attempt. This white shark, however, is a juvenile, and its scar is most likely from a close altercation with another white shark. That's because white sharks enjoy their space. Here's a clip from this week of 2 sharks essentially greeting each other. This circular dance is very common. Notice both sharks approach cautiously, yet they both keep an eye on each other. In most cases I've filmed, the smaller shark always tries to get behind the larger shark. This interaction is interesting because you can definitely see the smaller shark's cautiousness. It is most evident here when the smaller shark seemingly hides behind the kelp before slowly approaching again. Eventually, the encounter ends with each shark going its separate direction. You may notice a common element in some of my footage. It's the close proximity to kelp that I am finding white sharks. The importance of the kelp forests in this ecosystem cannot be overlooked. As is evident, leopard sharks and rays are just a few of the animals that thrive in this environment. And where there are rays thriving, I'm finding white sharks are nearby often. But something is happening to the kelp forests along our coast. These kelp forests are essentially the ocean's equivalent of trees. That's because they absorb carbon dioxide and nitrogen compounds. In fact, according to a study by Harvard University, kelp can actually capture up to 20 times more carbon per acre than land forests. Globally, kelp forests have declined by 1/3 in just the last decade alone. And according to satellite data, in Northern California, kelp has shrunk by more than 95% since 2014. This is a kelp forest I filmed in August of 2020. This is the same forest, same location in October. Only a few stalks remain, but the change is alarming. There are various factors, both man-made and natural, that have led to the diminishing kelp forests worldwide. Please read the links and citations in the video description to learn more about these changes. As I continue to film white sharks along Southern California, I continue to learn more and more about their environment. I'm learning that the view from above is unique in how we observe sharks. With a drone, we can actually see them acting naturally, without reaction to outside factors. Next month, I am cage diving with white sharks to document just how different the experience is beneath the water. I hope to learn much more. These white sharks I've grown an affinity towards are only a small but fundamental part of a bigger system. Look no further than the dying kelp beds of Northern California to see what happens when one species goes unchecked because its predator has died off. Sharks keep our oceans healthy. They must be appreciated. And while it's understandable that many people will always fear sharks, learning about them and understanding the importance they play in the health of our own world is vital. They are sleek, smarter than we realize, and have existed on this planet much longer than humans, yet they still remain a mystery. If you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. I've also included some links to organizations that are actively involved in protecting our oceans. Please pay them a visit.